Well, on that story, let's find out more. ENCA's Lester Kivitt joins us now and is joined by the Mayor of Cape Town. Lester?
Thank you very much, Sizwe. Patricia de Lille has, for the past few weeks and months, been under close scrutiny here in the city of Cape Town. Charges and claims, firstly, of corruption, mismanagement have first been labelled at her. Then she was taken off the response team for Cape Town's water crisis. And now this morning, the Democratic Alliance confirming that it has laid criminal charges against her based on an affidavit by a Johannesburg businessman who claims that Mayor Patricia de Lille attempted to solicit a bribe from him for a fire management device that he was showing about the city to control or to respond to informal settlement fires. To respond to these charges laid by the Democratic Alliance, Mayor Patricia de Lille, firstly, your response to now, after having first claims against you, now criminal charges being laid against you?
Well, I of course reject all of these charges with the contempt that they deserve. It is just another move by the Democratic Alliance to dent my reputation. It's so convenient that this guy come forward with this information 6 years after he claimed I solicited the bribe. Also just at a time when the DA is charging me. And so you raise a lot of questions. I've not been officially informed by the police about the charge, but should I be informed, I will cooperate with the police and I will go to court to clear my name. But the DA is hell-bent on smearing my name. They believe in the old strategy of if you repeat a message on volume all the time, that people will believe it. The only thing that I've been asking for 6 months now, please let us test these allegations, create the structure where we can test it. But the DA is also missing a golden opportunity to show South Africans that they are a party of systems and due process, and that we are all equal before those processes, and equal before the law, and equal before the country's constitution. So I'm ready to defend myself. They can trump up all of these charges and allegations against me. If they are so sure that these things will stick to me one day, why don't they allow me to be charged and let's test those allegations?
Mayor de Lille, we've had the claims regarding issues regarding mismanagement, corruption, regarding the bus tender which involved the now former municipal manager and the city's transport commissioner, Melissa Whitehead. We had those claims against you. You've been taken off the city's water response team. Now these fresh charges against you. Do you feel, all seemingly led by the Democratic Alliance, do you still feel that you have political support from your party?
Well, let me deal with the allegations one by one. The allegations around maladministration in the city, there's a process that council started. Unlike the DA who want to behave like a kangaroo court, the council started the process and the systems in place and is going to be tested. Similarly now with the charges against me with the so-called Steenhuisen report, I had to go to court last week, and the High Court ruled in my favor to say that they must produce all the evidence, all the documents, that letter of JP Smith, whatever they base their findings of guilt against me. But they found me guilty even before a trial, and it's been going on in their desperation to get rid of me. And I can walk away from the DA tomorrow, Lester. It's not to me about a position. To me, it's about my integrity and my name. So they must just give me a chance to present my counter evidence, to appear before a disciplinary committee. But they're in such a rush to get rid of me. There must be other motives that only the Democratic Alliance knows. But I also say to the leader, Mmusi Maimane, it is also his duty to make sure that every member of the DA gets a fair process, and due process must be followed.
Now, a process that will be unfolding in the next few weeks will be a motion of no confidence tabled by your own caucus, the Democratic Alliance in the City Council. Are you confident that you will still be within a job as leader or the #1 citizen in the city of Cape Town come January 16th?
What happened on the 10th of December when the Federal Executive of the DA met and they considered this report of all the untested allegations by Steenhuisen? At that time, they found me guilty on all the charges. They then sent me a letter and said, you let us know why you should not resign, why we should not move a vote of no confidence in you. And I responded to those. On the 14th of January, the leader Mmusi Maimane announced publicly on national television that the Federal Executive have decided that they will not go ahead with the vote of no confidence, but they will actually give the process, the systems of the DA an opportunity, the federal legal, to conclude its work. Now, I have not been informed what happened in between, why it was changed. I was shocked to see a statement by the provincial leader saying that the Federal Executive have now decided to support the ANC in a motion against me. I was never informed about these things. So if I'm not wanted in the party, I also have political rights. I fought for these rights in this country. It reminds me, Lester, you remember the old days of detention without trial? In the apartheid days, they used to put people in jail for 10 days, for 60 days, guilty already. It's exactly what is happening now. So I'm only appealing for due process and to make sure that what is happening to me today will never happen to any other person of color again.
Many people are now questioning your political future. You are a struggle stalwart, a political firebrand. You've been called, still actively active in grassroots politics. If you are no longer the mayor on January 16th, whether you're a DA member or not, is there still a political life left for Patricia de Long?
Well, my life, I have committed my life to serving the people of this country. I can serve the people of the country in any position. We as politicians must remember we still have got a lot of work to do. There are just a few people tasting the fruits of our new democracy. And we need to work hard so that especially the poor, all the inequality that we see in our country, that we work hard to redress the imbalances of the past. That is what we all need to focus on. And I can continue to play that role in any position. I don't need to be a mayor or member of parliament because I've committed my life. I fought in the struggle against apartheid. We attained our freedom, but now we need to make those rights in our constitution. We need to make it a reality for the poor and marginalized people in our country.
I just want to step back a little bit. You ended off your last question saying that you as a person of color and you as a person of color in the party like the Democratic Alliance. I want your opinion. Has the Democratic Alliance transformed its image of being a white liberal party? It has its leader Mmusi Maimane. It has a black African provincial leader. But is the Democratic Alliance a party that is open to all, especially after many say it used you and the Independent Democrats to garner a coloured demographic or coloured vote, particularly here in Cape Town and the Western Cape?
I certainly didn't lead the Independent Democrats into the DA to seek special favors. Even today, I don't seek special favors. But if you look at all the statements that is being released by the Democratic Alliance in the past month, they've hardly changed. They scripted the same way. They're repeating the same thing every day. And they have put Bongi Madikizela to be the spokesperson there with the scripted note. They've put the leader Mmusi Maimane to be the spokesperson on this. But this message script has been designed by people inside the DA. You can see how they stage manage this whole issue, repeat it, and people will think that she is guilty. Now, yes, in South Africa, We've got freedom of speech. I've been gagged many times, not allowed to speak to the media. But I decided last week, while everybody else is attacking me in the media for the past few months, I will also respond to protect my name and my reputation. So to me, the future, and I put my hope in the independence of our judiciary. Our judiciary has shown, doesn't matter who you are, we are all equal before the law. And if there are excesses on the side of the DA or on Patricia de Lille or anybody else, the court will not hesitate to rule against you.
One can't miss the irony of you being charged with corruption by the Democratic Alliance when you yourself have been seen as a corruption buster. The de Lille dossier in terms of the arms deal was quite it's a mainstay of South African in the South African political lexicon. I just want to move you a bit further into now the future for the prime person involved, the President Jacob Zuma. What do you think is the next step in terms of the political life of President Jacob Zuma? Do you think he will be charged? Will charges come back? And firstly, and also, do you think he'll be delivering this Thursday's State of the Nation address?
I have been asked by the NPA a couple of months ago, if they reinstate the charges against Jacob Zuma, will I be prepared to be a witness again? Because I blew the whistle on the arms deal in Parliament, but I was also a witness in the case of Schabir Shaik. Of course, my answer is yes. Jacob Zuma has always said, I want my day in court to clear my name. Now, why is he trying to run away from the 783 charges against him? So certainly, I hope this time around that the NPA will proceed to charge him. Zuma, like anybody else, he and his party has to deal with whether he's going to open Parliament or not. He is still the elected head of state. But President Jacob Zuma has been his own worst enemy by dragging out all of these things almost over 10 years. With the arms deal, it's almost 20 years. So my plea is that let us keep the decorum of Parliament. I mean, I've been a member there for 15 years. Our nation is in a state. So we need to, as all political parties in this country, we need to design programs and solutions that can save South Africa. And Zuma must be part of that. But he chose that he wanted to go a different route. And so Parliament must deal with it and his party must deal with it. I can't say whether he must open SONA or not. He is still the elected president.
And similarly, in my closing question, do you want your day in court? Are you willing to stand in a dock, give your side of the story? Are you willing to be cross-examined by a prosecutor regarding these fresh allegations that have today been leveled against you at the police?
Anytime, tomorrow morning, I will be ready to stand in an open court of law, cooperating with the police, cooperating with the investigation to state my side of the case. But the DA think that by leaking these allegations against me to the media, it will further taint my name, and therefore people in South Africa must believe that I'm corrupt. I am not a corrupt person. I've not taken a cent from anybody in this country. I've worked for what I have, and I love my country. So if the DA think that they will treat me like they're treating the ANC, just accusing the ANC of being corrupt, with me they will have to come with the evidence, and so that South Africa can make the judgment whether I'm corrupt or not. But I will not accept to be called corrupt by the DA or by anybody else in this country.
Mayor Patricia de Lille there responding to these now criminal charges that have been leveled against at the South African Police Service, Tula Sizwe. Those allegations relating to an affidavit submitted by a Johannesburg businessman accusing Mayor Patricia de Lille of soliciting a bribe from him. The mayor saying that she's ready to respond to these allegations, she's ready to have a day in court, but at the same time her mind is on that January 15th motion of no confidence in the Cape Town City Council brought by her own party, the Democratic Alliance. It's not just a busy political week for the ANC or national government, but certainly in the Democratic Alliance, the ruling party. here in the city of Cape Town and in the Western Cape, surely things are hotting up here.
Lester, I see you're still stuck in January. The motion of no confidence, of course, scheduled for February the 15th, not January the 15th. But Lester, before I let you go, that conversation with Patricia de Lille is quite extraordinary. I mean, she would uses words like the DA is behaving like a kangaroo court, and says they're using an apartheid strategy that says repeat a lie enough times and people will start believing it, and likens it to being under that process, under apartheid, of being detained without trial, being presumed guilty until you're proven innocent. Listening to it as a political journalist, following the intrigue of politics in Cape Town and around Patricia de Lille, how extraordinary do you find this conversation, and do you believe that this is the full stop in as far as this particular aspect of things is concerned, or will there be consequences to some of the things that the mayor has said now?
I think the story is far from over, and you're quite right. Some extraordinary comments there coming from Patricia de Lille, but it's not the first time that I've heard that from many people within the party, saying that while that there is a particular face and leadership of the party, that behind the scenes that there is a small cabal of people that are still running the roost at the Democratic Alliance. So you're right, those are utterances by Patricia de Lille are quite damning in terms of her opinion of the party, but this has wide-reaching implications for what happens to the Democratic Alliance. Patricia de Lille coming to the party with a wide support base, not only just from her independent Democrat background, but also from that grassroots support that she's brought into the party and that she still has here, particularly in the city of Cape Town. So we're going to have to wait and see what the repercussions are if Patricia de Lille is removed as mayor here in the city of Cape Town. Not only what happens to the Democratic Alliance electorally here, but also what remains of the future of Patricia de Lille and whether she is lost at all to South African active politics.
Yeah, never a dull moment in South African politics. Lester, just very quickly, we see in our visuals there to you that there's a procession behind you. Any idea what that is about?
From what I can see, Tula Sizwe, this is a church procession that is having an outdoor church service here at the Catholic Cathedral here behind us. A very busy day, obviously, in South African politics. This just somewhat adds to the atmosphere while being a bit more religious bent to that.
Thank you so much, Lester Kiewit.
And of course, walking past, recognizing. So I was just saying, many people walking past now, recognizing Patricia de Lille. She's calling out to her. She's getting many waves here, and that just shows the popularity around many citizens of Cape Town that Patricia de Lille still has here. And we're going to have to wait and see what effect does that motion of no confidence and these new criminal charges that have been leveled against her, what that means for the Democratic Alliance and what that means for Patricia de Lille.
Thank you so much. Lester Kiewit always has his eye on the ball in as far as the political story is concerned, and of course lots of activity there around Parliament, and we are not even talking about what's coming up later on in the week, the State of the Nation address, of course.